Hello, this is Child Crest. It is all about the child. It's a great pleasure to welcome you to this week's edition of the program. Well, we can't be tired of telling you that we are running a series on community health. Today, very important aspect of community health that is very relevant to everybody. I have a resource person who is up to the task to enlighten us on this week's edition of the program. But before then, Timileyin is standing by to give us a background report of hygiene, our focus of discussion today. We'll be back shortly.
On this segment of the program, we're going to be looking at hygiene.
Keeping good hygiene is one's ability to keep a good, clean environment and maintain general cleanliness. How clean is our environment, both the rural and the urban settings?
Most of the parents, they find it difficult to keep their environment clean, and second, even their personal hygiene. Even most of the time when you visit them, you will come and meet the plate open. Maybe the plate they used is yesterday will just be kept down. They will just, the woman will just come from work without washing hand. We just use hand to carry breast and breastfeed the baby. Even their fingernail very dirty too. So I discover all those things. Then even the other times, I always go with my nail cutter. If I just find anything like that, like the dirty finger, I say, take, or you scrape on finger. This one can also lead to diarrhea and vomiting.
They don't have good water. They are drinking from their well water, and dog well water. That is the type of water they are using. And I keep on telling them that well water is not good because it's stagnant, it does not flow. One will come, sweat into it. Goat will come, urinate into it. Pass feces, fowl will come, everything. Then you people still keep on drinking the water. Meanwhile, there are boreholes all over. There is one by my health center now. They will not like to use borehole water. All they are saying is, after our forefathers have been using it, so why is our own different? So I used to tell them what our forefathers used to eat in those days is not what we are eating. We ourselves, we are using polished food. We are eating rubbish. We are not eating real raw food from the farm like what our forefathers used to do. So that is the main reason.
And how does improper hygiene affect our health? What is the importance of maintaining good hygiene impact positively for the entire communities? For answers to these and more, let's go over to the studio for a chit-chat segment of Child Crest.
You're welcome back. Thank you very much for setting the pace for us on this discussion in the studio today, Timmy. Now, join me as I welcome to the studios of Child Crest, Dr. ADESUWA Blessing Tietie. She is our principal medical officer of UNILAG Medical Center. You're welcome to Child Crest.
Thank you so much, Ma.
Yes, so hygiene. What is it about hygiene that everybody should know about? Because when you say hygiene, people take it for granted. Cleanliness, you know. So tell us, what is hygiene?
Hygiene is more broad than what simply cleanliness is all about.
Okay.
Hygiene is all those sets of practices put together to achieve making us live a better health.
Okay.
Making us not to have diseases.
Okay.
Because if there's no hygiene to cover so many aspects of this preventing illness,
okay,
it will be very difficult to live healthy.
What is the relevance of hygiene and habits for the individual?
Usually with time, habits, from what we see, can become a repetitive thing.
Okay, how do you differentiate, or what's the relevance of habits to the hygiene we are talking about?
For habit, it's things you get used to after a number of years, probably you saw your parents doing it or you saw people in your community doing it. So with time, it becomes part of you. So sometimes it could be a good habit or a bad habit. So if it's a good habit, yes, it will encourage good hygiene. It will encourage hygiene.
Okay.
But of course, if it's a bad habit,
that's where the issue
on the
is.
other way.
Okay, we'll dwell more on that. Let's look at the various categories of hygiene. You said there's a personal hygiene, there's community hygiene, and then of course there is domestic hygiene. How do you differentiate these three broad ones?
Well, we'll talk about the individual, and then we'll talk about his immediate environment, which is his home or where he stays, and then community, the broader
one.
how he relates to other people that is in a larger on a larger scale. So that's how they relate, because for the bigger community to achieve anything good, individual in their different units actually should be doing the right thing. Otherwise, even if you are doing your best to be hygienic enough, your communities too will have its own influence on you somehow. So it's very important that
everybody has to comply,
yes, please,
with the cleanliness. What's it? You said that there's a difference between cleanliness and a proper hygiene. When somebody is clean, how does that impact positively on a good hygiene?
Well, with cleanliness, it's just that removal of dirt. It may not go further than that. It may just, but hygiene in itself is more total. It extends to even the instruments you use. It extends to so many other aspects of your life, including even how your mental health. It extends to even how you relate with others, even your sleep.
All right. So we say that, or people of the opinion that proper hygiene or lack of hygiene can be a predisposing factor to a lot of diseases in our communities. Is that correct?
Yes, very true.
Okay.
Some diseases like diarrhea, on its own, some diarrhea are not caused by infection, but majority in our environment are caused by infection. So when you take contaminated food, water, or you use a dirty hand to eat, it's very likely that after a short while, depending on the interval of when that particular bacteria would have had effect or put toxins into your body, you may start exhibiting diarrhea or stooling, as there's passage of watery stool as we know it. The person visits the toilet so many times. That in itself can even spread that kind of episode to other individuals who live around you.
Okay.
Aside that, it can also cause the respiratory tract infection we see. You see people, they cough into the air, they don't think they should cover their mouth or nose when they are coughing. They spread inoculums of all those things into the air. So if you're unfortunate to be residing in that same place with the person, it won't be surprising if by the next morning you wake up, you're sneezing.
And you're also sneezing.
Yes.
Okay, let's now zero into more personal hygiene. You medical practitioners, and even sometimes ago, the campaign was on hand washing.
Yes.
How does this impact positively on keeping a good hygiene?
Well, our hand is a highway, if we put it in inverted comma, on carrying a lot of diseases. You'll be surprised that many diseases, we can actually prevent them by just merely washing our hand. And then a lot of people do not even know how to wash their hands. So by the time you don't wash your hand properly, you are really going to spread a lot of pathogens or diseases around, even to yourself. Some people will just merely rinse off the hand with water. But then it's also important that you use soap, preferably liquid soap. And then you wash every aspect of your hand, in between the digits, under your nails, the inside, the depressed part of the hand. And you make sure that every aspect and the back of the hand, because you wouldn't know at which point you would actually need the hand, especially when you want to eat. So the hand should be washed before food, after food, and as many times as we can during the day.
But I'm just surprised that the innocent hand, how come it will be something that would, put us in trouble if it is not thoroughly washed?
It is, because we use our hands for so many things.
Okay.
Aside from using it to eat, we also use it to clean up our dirty areas as well.
Okay.
We also use it to prepare food that so many other people will partake in.
Okay.
And then we likely will touch surfaces that other people too will touch in their everyday dealing with us. So the hand is really one area that can be a highway, as I said, for spread of diseases.
But what effort is being made to ensure that, like you said, it's not just washing the hand, washing it thoroughly? Whatever is being made to campaign, to enlighten, to educate people, particularly the children that this program is centered on, to wash their hands thoroughly because they are even more vulnerable.
Yes, as you said rightly, we talked about habit at some point. Habit sometimes doesn't come, you are not born with it. It is with time that you actually acquire it. So from the preschool age, we try to encourage children to wash their hands very well. The teachers are trained to teach children how to do so while they're in school. So each time they are about to eat at school, they wash their hands, they teach them how to do it. I've been opportune to go to some schools to actually teach them how to wash their hands. And we encourage them from time to time. We sing jingle with the children so that they too get used to it. And we hope that such habits, they actually stick with it.
Interesting, because I know that from the calendar, there's even a particular day set aside for hand washing day.
Yes.
That is to say that is quite important.
Yes.
So closely following hand washing, hygiene also entails that you take your bath thoroughly. What relevance is that to what we're discussing?
Well, as we said, microorganisms are everywhere. And when they build up over time, they can actually overwhelm the body. They can reduce your immunity. And then when somebody is clean, because as you go about your everyday activity, you can also come in contact with pathogens in the air. So by the time you take your bath regularly, you wash your clothing, you're going to reduce the quantity of the microorganism that you will be fighting on a daily basis. So it's very important to take regular bath, especially in this humid environment, because high temperature or humid environments actually make bacteria to grow. And so
Thank you very much.
Even fungus as well.
It's a quite interesting conversation we're having. We're taking for granted that you're saying that people should take their bath thoroughly. What if there's no water? Like we have in some places that they have water and they have to ration and ration. How do you expect such a person to take bath thoroughly? You'll be answering that question, but now let's go for a short break. I'm still conversing with Dr. ADESUWA Blessing Tietie. She is a principal medical officer of UNILAG Medical Center. Let's go for a short break. We're about to continue the conversation.
In the kitchen, when women are cooking, food hygiene goes a long way.
Potty training involves getting a child to be continent of stooling and urine.
The parents feel stigmatized and treat the child differently from how you treat other children.
She is a protector, a giver, and a shield. There's so many things that are being abused. Herd immunity applies only to contagious diseases.
Making sure we wage war against rodents.
You look at the toys that you're going to buy for the child, especially children under the age of 2, you need to look at toys that they cannot swallow.
This time, we shall focus on community health.
Join us on Child Crest every Sunday at 10:30 a.m. on NTA Network. Child Crest, it's all about the child.
You're welcome back. Our focus today on Child Crest is hygiene. And we are sharing thoughts here with Dr. ADESUWA Tietie. She is the Principal Medical Officer of UNILAG Medical Center. She's part of those nurturing those undergraduates that are going to be good leaders tomorrow. Well done for a job well done.
Thank you so much.
Now, the question is pending. Lack of water or enough water. How do you expect, what does water, either clean water, what is the relevance of clean water to hygiene that we're talking about?
You see, the instance a person wants to take his bath or wash his hand, already there's a buildup of organisms, microorganisms or germs. So by the time you use water, because that is going to be what will be like the solvent that will wash off whatever you are trying to remove. You are mechanically trying to remove those microorganisms. So by the time you put your soap or detergent, yes, it will scrub it off a bit because it will lift it up from the surface, which could be the body. The water will now be what will help to wash it away. So it's very important that there should be enough water. Very important. In fact, it is innegotiable. It's not something we want to negotiate at all. We have to make and encourage good and adequate water for our system. So in whichever capacity we can, as administrators or managers of institutions, we should make water a priority for the people who claim to be taken care of. Otherwise, they cannot maintain good standard of hygiene.
Well, we're talking of adequate water. Let's also talk of the properties of the water. If you're in a community, there's no, let's say, pipe-borne water. People even have issues with pipe-borne water now. You have to rely on borehole or well water, and we know what manner of colors that water is supposed to be colorless, right?
Yes.
And then you have this water in different colors. What does that mean to the hygiene we are talking about?
As once the water is colored, to some extent, that water is contaminated. So having good hygiene will be very difficult in that kind of setting. So all arms will be on deck to actually get a source of good water for individuals that are in such community.
Okay, earlier on you mentioned briefly that you wash your clothes thoroughly. Laundering, that is washing your clothes, is also part of the hygiene we are talking about. How much of washing, how much of cleanliness do we have that to maintain good hygiene personally?
Well, usually our everyday clothes that we have to wear every day, we'll sweat, and then of course dust will rest on them as we do our daily business. It's very important that we wash them every day. As much as possible, we should try not to repeat such clothes. Our underclothing too, taking most of the thing, especially the humid and sweat. And for some other clothes, which probably are occasional and they're not the type that we'll wear for long hours, or probably the fabrics are very delicate, even if we do not wash them and probably want to repeat it a second time, we should take time to air it under direct sunlight so that the intensity of the sun can actually dry up or heat the bacteria or whatever microorganism may have rested during the course of our wearing such articles or clothes.
Well, for those in the community, you go to the stream, irrigation and all that. This is where you get enough water. What's your counsel?
Well, the nearer you are to continuous flowing water that is from the tap, it's even better. So really, water will do a long way for good hygiene.
It's not negotiable.
It's not negotiable.
Let's look at other aspects of personal hygiene. I'm shocked that even if you have to keep your nails thoroughly, it's also part of maintaining good hygiene. What is the relevance of keeping good nails?
The nails underneath is always the difficult part to wash because a lot of microorganisms would go under them and then hide. And then usually in this part of the world, we use our hands to eat, especially those mussels. So it is really important that we wash our hands, especially when we also want to handle our babies, take care of them. They are very minor in comparison to us when it comes to their immunity. So we need good hands. And underneath the nails, your hand is not clean until you have actually cleaned underneath your nails. So it's better if you can to maintain short nails so that it's easier to clean. But if it's not even possible, even when you have a longer form of nails, still take extra effort to clean it thoroughly where you're doing your hand washing regime.
But, medically, how often do you think we should cut our nails to avoid, because some children will say, I want to keep long nails, but, you have to, insist that they trim their nails.
For children, we must insist they cut their nails. But then as any part of our body, as per hair, some people have very long hair, some people have short hair. The same goes for nails. Some people's nails grow on a daily basis. But if you cut it today by the next, so it just depends on the individual. If you notice your child's nail grow at a very fast, rapid rate, try and cut it as often or maybe alternate days. But at worst, the worst scenario should be at least once a week. Yes.
Interesting. You talked about hair. How clean should our hair be? Because these are parts of the bodies that, will also incubate germs.
The hair should be washed every day, especially for children. For those who plait their hair, girls, at least weekly washing of the hair too will be very important. Therefore, more mature women that can have to carry their hair longer, probably they perm it or they do other exotic hairstyles, at least we advise twice in a month should be something they should do, and they should properly take care of their hair and use the correct products so that they will not be doing the wrong thing concerning their hair.
How about oral care? Because I know some of you will say, no, I'm not a dentist, but at least as a physician, you should be able to say, this is at the minimal level that you can keep your oral care and then you have maintain good hygiene.
For oral care, the dentist advise twice a day at least.
Okay.
And then flossing in between the teeth, at least before going to bed every night you floss, as against the use of toothpick. And then even while brushing, use the proper technique, because a lot of people just go, yes, up and down. A lot of people just go like that, and they tend to use one brush for like 2 years. That won't be appropriate, because toothbrush, it has a lifespan, and usually between, I think, 2 to 3 months should be fine for your. But once you notice that the bristles are just going off a bit, 1 or 2 of it are not just change it. They are not so expensive to be able. You can actually do that, but even at that, there are different types of brushes, so there will be some that are a bit more affordable than some. So we should try and encourage the change of brush and the proper technique to brushing our teeth.
This brush itself, some people say hard brush, soft brush, and what's your recommendation?
I'll just say medium, because if it's too hard, then it's going to damage the gum. Yes, and I think for people who smoke, they would probably benefit more from a harder brush. But even at that, they should use the correct technique of brushing so that they do not injure their gums in the process. There's
something that is very, very common in our environment. I mean, it's good, you doctors will say, not to sachet water, don't take, though it is called pure water. How pure is the pure water really? But you see people picking up the sachet water and they do this. As the process of cleaning it, you know, and piam, they gulp. That we'll talk about at the next edition of this program. You explain it to us. Yes, the program is Child Crest. Been chatting with Dr. ADESUWA Blessing Tietie. She is the Principal Medical Officer with UNILAG Medical Center. Thank you very much for coming on the program.
Thank you so much.
You will oblige us when we call you again.
I will.
Thank you. So let's go over to other segments of the program now. Let's really see. We went on the field. Let's see how hygienic we are. We'll be back shortly.
Ifesoako Street is a street in Idiaraba community, and you can see that they've turned that street to a dumping site. But the government can come down and help them to pack away the refuse by putting them inside a nylon bag that is very handy, because vehicle cannot go in easily into the place to cart away the refuse, but they can do that to help them.
You're welcome back. That's our show today. Child Crest, it has been. We can't do it alone. We desire your support, collaboration, partnership, and of course, sponsorship. If you sponsor us, this information we are giving out, all for the purpose of child development, will be well enhanced and appreciated by all. This target audience is ready for you to key in. Let's do it again same time next week when we shall bring you an equally interesting edition of the program. Of course, we'll bring back Dr. Tietie to come and conclude what she has started. Until then, bye for now.
Thank you.